Hey, Annissa Coy here with Firehouse Education and this week's Ask Annissa video column. And this week, our question comes from Stephanie, and Stephanie sent me an email and she asked, "Hey Annissa, I really enjoy your videos. Thank you so much for doing them. I have been in the restoration industry for about 3 years and primarily doing contents. And my question for you is this. I have just come across my first hoarder job and I am really struggling. Wow, there is a lot here to deal with. I have a couple of things that I'm not sure about, and one of which is I have the adjuster asking me for an estimate of what I think it will take to get the job done. Not even sure where to begin with this. The other thing is there is so many things here that are just plain garbage. They are obviously things that this person has hoarded and stored that have zero value and honestly should just be thrown in the trash. I am not sure how to handle this with the insured. And if they do decide that they're willing to throw these items away, who has to pay for the disposal of them? So many questions, but I will end with these. Thank you so much for any advice that you can give me on this. Sincerely, Stephanie." Okay, well, I first off totally understand that you're overwhelmed if this is your first hoarder job. One of the most difficult content jobs we face is a hoarder job. So there were several questions you had here. First off, I want to address the question about the adjuster and asking for an estimate. It is virtually, in my opinion, impossible to give a full solid estimate on a hoarder job. How do you know what all needs to be done when sometimes you can't even see the extent of everything until you dig into this job, which you can't just do at a glance, all right? The other thing is that hoarder jobs often are very labor intensive because it takes so much time to process them with the homeowner, because hoarding is a legitimate illness. They have a very difficult time getting rid of anything. And on a hoarder job, there's obviously tons of things that you have to get rid of. And so you have to spend time talking to your homeowner and dealing with them through that whole process, getting them to sign releases, dealing with the emotional side of things. So the first thing that I would recommend that you do is talk with your adjuster. Make sure that they're well aware of this circumstance. Maybe this is the first time this adjuster has dealt with a hoarder job. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're just wanting you to come with a price so that they can make you stick to it at the end of the job. Don't be afraid to say, "I cannot give you an estimate" when it comes to a hoarder job. It's very important not to commit yourself too much, especially until you've had a chance to get in there and dig in and kind of see what's going on. So that being said, I want to talk to you a little bit about the homeowner. Really, the most important part of this job is working with your homeowner and getting them to give you the ability to process and deal with these items. And yes, a lot of them are items that would just normally everyday people would process. There's really no value to them. They would either donate them or they would throw them away. They're actually garbage, something that has zero value. So what you have to be able to do is to get on a trust level with your homeowner. You've got to get this homeowner to be able to trust you so that you can start processing this claim with them. You have to be able to sit down with them and process some of this one-on-one. Now, you can't do that through every little thing when it comes to a hoarder job because, well, it's just too massive and too intense. What you need to be able to do is take it in steps. So here's a couple of things that I do right away in a hoarder job that will usually help me. One is I ask the person, the homeowner, to tell their story and tell what happened. Like, let's say it's a fire, okay, that happened in the home. Ask them to tell you what happened with the fire. Ask them to tell you where were they, what was going on. Just listen. Don't ask a ton of questions. Just let them vent and talk to you and express themselves. In doing this, you are going to gain a lot of trust and rapport with this person, which is the number one key to handling a hoarder job. Okay. So once they've explained to you and walked through the story of what happened, where were they, this sort of thing, ask them, what are some of the most important things to them that if they were to be able to leave this circumstance with, leave this loss with, what would those items be? Now, that's a really big question for somebody that's a hoarder because they're hoarding things because everything's important to them. Okay. But just ask them, listen, if you could only leave with 10 things out of this house right now that you knew this was all you were going to leave this fire loss with, what would those 10 items be? You might get a bit of hesitation. You might even get a little bit of overwhelm, okay, and a very emotional response to this. But you need to try to get them to hone in on just a few important things. And you know what? They may not be able to give you 10 things. They might be so overwhelmed with thinking everything is important, they have to leave with everything, that they can only give you 2 or 3 items. And that's okay. Just let them tell you what those items are and listen to them. Ask them why maybe these things are important and maybe get a little bit of the backstory on these items. And you might get them to start opening up to you. Because look, it's not the things that are important. Oftentimes, hoarding situations occur because of a tragic situation that happens in somebody's life. So I want to share with you an instance that I had. I had a hoarder situation occur where someone had lost a child. And I was able to get them to start opening up and talking to me about what was important. And in those first few things, and I actually only asked this person about the 5 things, they shared with me a chest that had all of their son's items in them. And they had lost this son as an infant. And so they were able to talk to me about that and start opening up to me. And I was able to really make a connection with them over that. And what happened was I gained their trust. And they really got present to the fact that I was there for them and I wanted to help and protect them. Once that happened, it was like an open door, and I was able to really process these things. Now, processing items on a hoarder job is not fast, and it's not like a normal fire loss. And that's why it's virtually impossible, in my opinion, to give an estimate on how much is this going to cost to take care of, because you just don't know. Some will wind up going faster than others and so on. So really try hard to connect with that person by asking them about these most important things. The other thing that I want to share with you is you cannot rush somebody who is in this type of situation. You have to have the patience to walk through this process with them and be able to take them through the steps firmly but easily so that they can process, because we're going to ask them to process a whole lot really, really fast that they're probably not ready to process. Now, that being said, there just may be some things that you know are an item that either needs to be just destroyed or gotten rid of, and they're just not ready to process that. Then you may need to take these items and put them in a contaminated area and be able to set them aside. You can't push a hoarder to go through this kind of situation faster than they're willing to or able to process, because you're just going to get into a really difficult situation. Knowing that we're dealing with a fire loss and an insurance claim, we are on a time schedule, right? We have to get things processed and moving along. So be very diligent in, one, creating a connection with your homeowner, two, being patient and letting them do some of the processing. And the third thing is you really need to be able to talk your homeowner into letting go of items. There's going to be items that the insurance company is just not going to pay to replace. It's of no value, and you really can't even log them on a non-salvage because of that no value. So you need to be able to talk with your homeowner and hopefully get them on board with you being able to just take some of these items and actually putting them in a garbage bag and disposing of them. And in order to do that, you might need to involve a family member. Maybe a brother, a mother, or a child can help you get connected with this person, and they can help them process some of these items and be able to let go. So that might be an avenue for you. The other thing is, you asked me, Stephanie, about who's going to pay for this. Oftentimes, I've been able to get insurance companies to pay for the disposal of these items and the labor to bag up these items and put them into, say, a dumpster or a roll-off and dispose of them, because they realize that that is a much less expensive route for them to go. So talk with your adjuster, make sure that they're aware of what you're working with your homeowner and doing, and see if they will pay for the disposal of those items. Again, remember that the insurance policy covers to get the home back in pre-loss condition. Well, pre-loss condition was there was a lot of things that were, there that should honestly be, tossed or donated or that sort of thing. But the home still has an odor and has soot residue on it that needs to be cleaned. And in order to do that, we have to process these items. So talk with your adjuster and make sure that they're well aware of what you're doing to remediate the situation and move things along. They will likely be very happy to pay for the disposal of these items and to be able to move the claim along quickly. All right, Stephanie, well, I hope that helped you in processing this. Please be sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, Firehouse Education, and be sure that you are a super cool kid and you are subscribed to rnrmagonline.com's e-newsletter so that you get this and tons of other goodies in your email inbox every Friday. And on that note, I will see you on next week's Ask Annissa video column.